And I guess just getting your thoughts on where you're seeing the Indian economy. We are getting some optimism on the global economy as we look towards this vaccine. But what are you expecting from the RBI, and when do I guess we start to see a better recovery coming through in the Indian economy?
Well, the Indian economy has gone through some sea changes. Apart from COVID, we were actually kind of in a tough place before it came. And what is actually happening is that the small businesses are actually hurting and the big are getting bigger. Now, is that good? Is that bad? Short-term, bad. Long-term, good. And it's a sort of government policy that's happening. And, we are a country that we don't like change. So, change is always extremely painful and a lot of people are affected. And sometimes change is introduced without actually taking everyone into confidence, and that actually causes a lot of problems. So, it is what it is. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say, you say yourself that the bottom of the pyramid is being given aid by the government, but that there's a next layer that's hurting. So in your mind, if you were able to advise the government, or you were able to give some kind of incentives to that next level, what do you think needs to be done to create a bit more of an equal footing here as we get the economy back on track?
The challenge in all these sort of packages, and we've seen the US to be the best, where they've actually given money to everyone. To their bottom of the pyramid, everyone who earns less than $70,000 a year. We just don't have the money, and we also have a huge number of people. So we have to be a little more inventive. And, the challenge is without money, without job creation, it's extremely painful. On the other hand, we are going to be probably the second largest player in vaccine manufacture in the world. The Serum Institute is a very, big player. They've actually contracted with AstraZeneca. There are 3 or 4 other players that are going to be, exporting vaccines as well as making them locally. So that's a new venture for us, and that's actually going to be helpful in helping our economy get out of the rut that it's in.
But more needs to be done, doesn't it, Pashupati, especially as you just alluded to in terms of stimulus, or should I say triage in many respects here. And the thing is, there is this tussle, isn't there, between the central bank, the Reserve Bank, and the government?
The challenge that we have in India is that our sovereign rating is BBB. And if we go out and pump money into the system, if our sovereign rating drops to BB, our cost of borrowing is going to go up a lot. And I think that's the real reason why we're sort of sitting on the fence and we're not doing things. So the government is trying to push things onto the RBI and saying, you take some of the risk. But at the end of it all, there's going to be some losses to be taken, because obviously some businesses have had to close, they've had to pivot, and they're not able to. And those losses have to be taken up by the government. And, they don't have the money to do it. So they're trying to push it off onto the RBI. They're trying to push it off onto the private banks, wherever they can. And so that's why it's taking a little time, as opposed to a lot of other countries where they've sort of swept the broom clean and gone back to business, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Pashupati, when you look at the Indian economy itself, is there an irony that it could actually, in the post-COVID world, emerge stronger? But can it be stronger unless it gets support now?
Well, as I said to you earlier, the big are getting bigger. So, I mentioned the Serum Institute earlier. The Serum Institute has promised 400 million vaccines by the end of the year. Even if they already got about 100 million ready, so they'll probably get to 300, 250 to 300. That's a lot of vaccine. So, the point is, everyone says if you want to succeed in this post-COVID environment, you have to pivot your business. And certainly India has pivoted, and India is going to be a large player in vaccine manufacture. And it looks to me like the vaccine is here to stay. So, it's a new business. It will help us. However, we have got a lot of poor people, and, vaccine manufacture is not actually going to be job creative. So, there's a trade-off. But who knows? I think we are, at the end of it all, an extremely resilient country. And, so we will manage, I'm sure.
And resilience and also incredible momentum coming through in equity markets, which is something we've seen globally, of course, Pashupati. But when we look at the Indian stock market, which has been holding near these records, we've also seen a lot of inflow coming through from foreign investors that actually poured through in November in particular. Do you expect that to continue?
It looks like it's continuing because wherever you look at the foreign press, it says that India is one of the places to be. If India can do manufacturing and take some of the manufacturing away from China, it's therefore going to be on the map. We certainly have the resources to be able to do that. And I think that the fact that everyone is looking towards India as a China alternative, I think that's going to be a big difference, a big plus for us. And money's certainly seeing itself, but the money's coming into new areas. Money's also coming into sort of bashed up real estate, because real estate's obviously got affected because of the leverage. And so you've got the Brookfields and the Blackstones of this world buying real estate projects. So yes, there are bargains in India, and foreign investors are actually taking advantage of it. But then there's also going to be a new issue IPO market that's coming, and we're going to see lots of IPOs in pharmaceutical companies, gaming companies, all the businesses that have benefited from COVID-19. I think are going to be in the market pretty soon.
That's certainly been one area. I wanted to also get your thoughts, though, on relations with the likes of China and how, I guess, that impacts as well trade, because you were saying here imports like mobile phones dropping due to border tension. So does that give, I guess, a bit of an advantage to some of the telcos in India?
Well, we don't really have proper mobile phone manufacturing. It's been primarily assembly. I think what will happen over the next 2 or 3 years is a large portion of the mobile phone will be manufactured in India, and only the critical components will come in. So I think that will create some jobs. But the reality is that the situation with China is not good. There's a lot of viewing across the border, and a lot of unhappiness in India because of it. And of course, right now we are blessed because it's the winter season, and in the winter up there's really nothing to be done except to dig in, and it's extremely cold on both sides. But I think that this whole anti-China thing is because of the war situation, is stopping Chinese goods from reaching India, and that's actually helping the Indian balance of payments, as well as lower oil prices, which is also helping, and also lower oil demand. So those three things are helping our balance of payments a lot. And, I think during the COVID times, we actually had a couple of months where we were positive, which was unheard of in the last 10 years.